Hi, thank you for checking out my tutoring presentation. We're going to go ahead and jump into it. So the first thing is the basic background. All of this tutoring took place over Zoom. We met anywhere between 1 to 1:30 and a 4 o'clock for start time. My student Haley was typically in her bedroom where she has a little work area, and I was in either my classroom, my office, my living room, depending on the time and day. The biggest highlight and most rewarding experience was not only watching her grow, but being her emotional support as well. This is something I cover a little bit more in question 4, so we'll wait until we get there. The biggest challenge that I had was having to relearn Algebra 2. I haven't taken Algebra 2 for almost a decade. So that was definitely a hurdle or an obstacle for me to overcome. And I overcame this by studying shortly before each session, knowing what content we were going to be talking about, so that I was able to make sure that I was studying the correct things. The incident that left an impression on me was one day I got a call from the mother of my student, Haley, telling me that she was in tears over having a really bad test score. Haley is a student who typically excels in school, and so getting a bad test score kind of rattled her. I was able to talk her down and told her that we would make the test corrections and earn back the points that we were offered, and that everything would be all right. By the end of the call, she felt much better. The mom got on the line with me and told me that she felt that it was really important that Haley knew not only that she would be able to make the test corrections with me, but also that she had someone who was there to function as an emotional support for her and to help her when she was going through things like that. So that was definitely something that stuck with me a lot. One of the things that I learned about teaching and learning is when we are teaching, we are working with people. We all have good days and we all have bad days. And it is very important that we help the students emotionally as well as with the content that they are learning. The connections that I was able to make between tutoring and the course content was that we need to focus on the student as a whole and not just the assignments being given out. While the assignments are very important and they will help the students to reach success as they get older, the thing that is most important is knowing that the student is able to grasp the content. Because at the end of the day, if the student is upset or stressed or feeling anxious or feeling depressed, they're not going to be able to grasp the concepts in the long run anyways. So they probably wouldn't have learned what you were trying to teach. Whereas if we focus on the student and ensuring that their mental health is their first, or that their confidence is their first, then they are able to get much more out of the lesson and they feel okay with being wrong, even if they're still in the process of learning. And last but not least, my tutoring advice for future students, I have created a list of 3 items. So number 1, do your best to find someone that you feel comfortable with. I have known Haley almost her entire life, which was very lucky on my end, but it made things much less awkward for us, especially with having to meet over Zoom and having to do recordings and things like that. It felt much more natural when she and I were meeting and when we were talking and we were holding conversations. And it made me feel comfortable in trying to kind of lead her to what she should be learning, which brings me to item number 2. It's all right to let the 2D lead the session. If the 2D is telling you something that they've learned in their class or that their teacher has told them about, then it's important to let them get those words out and tell you what they're learning. Because while you may have learned it one way, they might be learning a totally different way, or they might be learning a different formula, or sometimes they just need the chance to talk it out and then they understand it for themselves. And last but not least, number 3, it is okay to not know the answer right away and to work with the 2D to find the solution together. I have lost count of the number of times that Haley and I would be on a session together and would be working together to find the right answer. So she and I were both trying to solve the problem at the same time. And this was something that I feel brought us closer in our relationship for tutoring, as well as gave her the opportunity to see that just because an adult asks you a question doesn't necessarily mean that they know the answer either. And so it gave us a chance to kind of grow and learn the solution together, and to kind of work on some team building skills. So that is my tutoring presentation. I hope that you have enjoyed, and it's been a really great semester. So thank you so much and have a great one.